Masech Chullin Daf Kuf Yud Ches Amar Aleph. We're starting for Kuf Yud Zayin Amid Beis. Daf. We're going to start from Kuf Yud Zayin Amid Beis by where it says the Gemara.
Yeah.
Okay. Tanina. Yeah. In the Mishnah we said there's a chilik. Zwischen Tumas Eichlin und Tumas Nevela. By Tumas Eichlin, you could add on the oil, the spices. Tumas Eichlin to Makabel Zayin Tuma. Samach Lake is to Makabel Zayin Tuma if it's called the Hu. According to Rashi, it's also Kibeya. Sai to be Makabel and Sai to disperse Tuma, to give out Tuma, to transmit Tuma. And according to the Rambam, to be Mekabel Tumah is afilu bekoldu. But to transmit Tumah has to have the share of Kebeya. That's Tumah Seichman. Now, we said you could add, from the oil, you could add to make it to the size of a Beya. Tumas Nevela is Andish. Tumas Nevela, first of all, is a Kezayis. And Tumas Nevela, you can't be mitzdarev anything within the Nevela. The Nevela itself, the bus Nevela itself, is the only part that you could count for Kezayis, not other parts and be mitzaref with it.
So what's the din with the other parts?
It's not part of. It's not a chilik of. It's not being mitzaref to the nevela. The nevela is the bus itself.
So the bones of a.
We're talking about a bone.
Of a nevela is not. What's the din?
The bones of the nevela. It's not. Doesn't combine.
It's not.
It's tummy. We're going to learn about that. We're going to learn about that. If it's a handle to the meat of the nevela, or if it's a handle for the nevela, so then the handle could be makabel tumah. And if it's the oil, and on the other side of the oil you have the bas nevela, even though you're touching the oil itself,
is not tumah.
It is. It says if the oil, if you're touching the oil, which is opposite with it, we're going to talk about it already. Okay. So Tanina lahad Tanir Rabbanim, we had learned according to this that the Rabbanim had learned. In the Mishnah, we learned also in the following Baraisa the same thing. Shoimrim letumakala. Shoimrim means that those things that protect could be added to the share of a beya. Lamashal, the bone which has marrow in it, so the bone is a protector of the marrow. So the bone you could be mitzaref to the marrow to make it a shir kezayis. Beloi shoimrim letumakhamura. First of all, why is it called tumakala? So tumakala, so I explained to you that is a lighter tumah. It's not. It's mekabel tumah. It's a rishon letumah. Tumah seichlin. Yeah. That it's only a rishon, but mashenkin tumas nevela is a ava tumah. Is more chamor. It could be metama adam keilin. Tumah seichlin is only eichlin or mashkin that it can be metama. So since it can only be metama tumas oichel mashkin, it's called tumakala. That's how he phrases it. Mashein came tumas nevela, which is a avatuma, which can be metama even other v'kelin. That's why it's called tumas chamura. And he says tumas chamura, meaning the sheinin for tumas chamura won't be combined to the size of the nevela to make it a kezayis. Shein letumakala minalam. How do we know? By that we combine the bone with the marrow to make it to the size of a beya. From where do we know that we can add it to the share of a beya? So the Gemara of the Tanna we learned in the Brayse, the Vei Rabbi Yishmael and the Beis Medrash of Rabbi Yishmael, or from the Beis Medrash of Rabbi Yishmael. It says over there, Al Kol Zer, on every seed, Zeirua, which is a seed plant, Asher Yizareya, that they will sow. Tarhu, it says, and then the pasuk says it's tar. So the pasuk is talking about food, which was not Hoshel Kabbalas Tuma, or it's only became Hoshel Kabbalas Tuma through becoming wet. It has to be tolush, chitim. In order to be Mekabel Tuma, it has to be tolush, and it has to have water on it that it should be Muchshel Kabbalas Tuma. Then a sheretz fell on it. That's the case over there. So the words, the Lashon Asher Yizareya, is extra. So what does he come to tell you? Because every zera is bazia. What does it mean Asher Yizareya? So he says, Adam he's saying the same way that people come to plant wheat or barley or lentils, how do they plant it? With the klipa, with the husk. which is not royal achila. So so just like over there, wheat with its husk, and barley and the barley with its klipa with its husk, and lentils beklipasa. So it's a chelek of the zerav and the geila in tuma that it's mekabel tuma. These husks, even though they're not royal achila, and nevertheless we are mitzvah of it to the share of a beya. So from here we learn out that the shomer, by shomer, something that is a protective thing, is mitzvah lahash letuma. We're going to learn about vitamin. Let me give you a little hakdama. Sefana inya for shmira. A bone, which is a shmira, lamashal, the bone is a shmira to the juice in it, to the moya, to the marrow. Then you have the steaks, or from a lamb. That's not beindel. There's no marrow in it. It's just a yad. That's called yad. So we're going to learn about the yad part, and we're going to learn about the shomer part. Shomer is more connected to the marrow, but the yad is just a handle. It's nishkin shmira. It's a handle in how to eat the meat, or a handle for a keli l'mashal. The handle is nicht the keli alein, is to be able to pick up the keli and move it around. So we're going to learn about yad, and we're going to learn about shmira. These are two separate things. Then we're going to learn about sefana inyan from hachnasa. Hachnasa means azi alein is mekabel tuma, that it receives tuma, and you're going to learn about heitzah. Heitzah means that it could transmit tuma. Versteht sich nevela? You don't have to talk about hachnasa. Nevela alein is das is the hachnasa, das is the tuma. Okay. This is pointers that you should know. So when I say further the Gemara, it'll go easier. Zag the Gemara. We said shemim cannot be combined to the tumah chamora. In fact, from where do we know that? It says the Gemara the Tanur Rabbanan. So far we only spoke where we know shomer by tumas eichlin is mitzdaref. From where do we learn it out? From Asher Yizareya. From where do we know that by letumah chamora it's not combined? Because by nevela it says v'chiyamas min habehema nageya binivlasa. The word binivlasa, it says v'chiyamas min habehema v'asnav shneim binivlasa. Nevela means it's there, so it's an extra word binivlasa yitma. So the lashon binivlasa is miyuter to tell you that one who touches it is tamei, okay, but only in the nevela itself. Binivlasa datke v'lo yanagei ba'oyer nicht. If somebody touches the oid itself, he's not going to become tummy. She'ein, and the oid itself, she'ein Allah k'sayis basa, there's no k'sayis basa. So I would have thought somebody who touches the oid on nevela, kineged basa, opposite side of the basa. Here you have the oid, and here you have the basa, and he touches the nevela on this side. So kineged basa, ma'achoyra, from the back. It's the back of the basa. Lo yehi tummy, I would have thought he shouldn't be tummy. Because it's oid. Talmud Leimah comes the pasuk and tells us yitma. That's not in the same pasuk. You have two words. You have nivlasa telling you that only nevela, and you're not mitzvah of the oid. And another din is yitma telling you that if he touches the oid, he's going to be tamei if it's keneged abasa. So now, frankly, one of my comment. What is the comment of the bird?
If you pick up a piece of ore, you got to be careful where you're holding it, because if you hold it to the inside,
doesn't matter if you're touching the bus on the outside, face opposite the bus, or your tummy. If the bus has a kezayis on this side and you touch the area on this side, your tummy doesn't make a difference. Now the Gemara is going to ask, my comment. What is he saying? In the beginning of the brayso, he said hanageya be'or. Right? Which didn't have a kezayis. You're talking about a case that there wasn't a kezayis. Right. You said he's not tamei. Right? Because oir is not called nevela. Okay. And then what do you say? The Tana says weiter, but if he touches the oir, kenaged habasa, doesn't say it's a kezayis. He touches the oir on the opposite side of the basa, he is tamei.
Or the oil itself.
It's a stira. You said before if you touch the oir, he doesn't become tamei. That right? Yeah. If it is, and we're talking about there wasn't a kezayis basa. Then you said if he touched the oil on the opposite side of the basa, he doesn't say it was a kezayis. We're assuming it's still not a kezayis basa. He is tamei. It's a
Are
stira.
we talking about the being mistarev?
No, we know it's not mitzvah because from the word b'nivlasa. Keep that word,
Okay.
b'nivlasa. Yitma is telling us that if you touch the oid, it's going to be tamei. But we just said b'nivlasa tells us if you touch the oid, which doesn't have a kezayis, you're tired. And here you're telling me if you touch the oid, opposite.
It's actually the meat. It's actually the veil itself.
No, he's touching the oid. He's touching the oid. And you said
But if it has meat on the other side of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what the Gemara wants to understand what's going on. You say something in obey. You just said you touched the oid.
Or it's like a shayma to the piece of meat.
It's not a shayma. It's not a shayma. Yeah, it is a shayma. It is a shayma. But by neveil, it doesn't matter. It's not going to. It's not going to add to the kizayis. But you said before, even if you touch the oid, you're not tummy. And here it says oid connected up ma'achidov. You are tummy. What's going on here? And for the Gemara, kedi. Others say it's kedi. Kedi can mean a name of a tana, or it's not a. Kedi means stam, that it's not a specified tana who said it. We don't have the person who said it. Ksuri masa are missing words. In the Braisa. And this is how you have to learn the Braisa. Bin Nivlasa, the Hanakir bin Nivlasa is extra. What is he coming to tell us? That somebody who touches only the Nevel itself, he's going to be Tomei. But if he touches the Oy, which on the other side doesn't have a Kazayis Basa, he's not Tomei. So I would have thought Shani Moitzi and is mashlum the kazai. Even if the oil will be mashlum to kazais, he's still tired because the basa itself was less than the kazais, and the oil is nish mitzdaref. Okay. So now Yachla, I would have thought, the oil is azach that you can become tamid. Yachla, I would have thought shani moitzi af sheish alav kazais basa. I would have excluded even if you touch the oil, which on the opposite side has a size of basa, he should also be tired. Because it's the oid, it's not the basa. I would have thought he shouldn't be tamei. Because you were mamayit the shema from being combined, so that means it's a whole separate gather, the oid. So we can't ban tamei from them. So I would have thought even if you touch the oid,
why do you think that?
Oid is a whole different
thing. With buses, and it's a separate thing.
It's two separate things, the oid and basa. So maybe if you touch the oid, even when there's basa of his eyes on the other side, maybe I would say he's tired.
Why would he be machman mimekel?
No, but we said till now that he's tired. So because we said it doesn't even help to combine it to make it to the size of his eyes. So if I feel a ma'aseh yod, namin lo yavi, now it's going to be called a ma'aseh yod. What does it mean on Ma'aseh Yod? Ma'aseh Yod means it's a hand
with a hose.
It's not shema anything. There's no marrow. Let's say a bone or even the hand of a kli. So it's called Ma'aseh Yod. So I feel a Ma'aseh Yod namelo yavid. It's not even being utilized as a hand because a hand that's connected to a keli or a hand that's connected to the meat that a bone transmits tumah.
Or also mitzdaref.
It's not mitzdaref, for sure not. It's a yod. It's not even a shema. Shema is not even. Shema means that it protects the marrow. It's not even mitzdaref to the size of a bayah. Yad is kol shekain is not going to be mitzdaref, but a yad is a how do you say it transforms a conduit. A yad is a conduit to the tumah. It could be. It helps out to transmit the tumah. So Talmud Leiman comes the pasuk Yitma. No, that even though it's he's touching the oil, but if it's on the opposite side, the Zekazai Sabasa, he's going to become tamei. That's what we learn out from Yitma. So now the Gemara is bringing a Mishnah from Masechta Uktzin. Okay, again, Yad and Shema. Remember, Yad is not a protector. It's just it's a helper to help, but it is a conduit to transmit Tumah. Shema means...
How's it a conduit? No.
Because if you touch the yad, it transmits Tumah to the Keli. Touch the yad that's connected to the meat, it's a bone that has no marrow, like a lamb chop, and you have a bone sticking out, you're holding the bone, if your tummy, it transmits tumah to the basa. Okay. But it's just a yad. Shema means in the bone, you can bite, there's a marrow. Okay, so that's a shema. I'm giving you an example of bones, but clippers also, yeah. The husk, yeah, sure. Okay, it's not a husk. We learned in the Mishnah.
Clip is a classic shomer.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the different types of shemrim because we're learning it out from chitim sa'idim. So we want to know how could that be a limit for cases that are not like chitim sa'idim that you use it for plantation. Kiderech shemaitzim b'nei adam. People plant wheat with the husks, but then you have like a rima and you don't plant it with the flour. The Gemara is going to talk about it later. Anyway, it's not us. We learned in the uksim. There are three categories that are connected. It says kol shu yad v'lo shema. Something that's a yad is not a shema. It's a etzem a bone that doesn't have any marrow. The halacha is the etzem, the bone itself, is only used for to hold on as a handle for the meat. Tamei, it transmits tuma. The meaning if the eich was tahor and a sheretz touched the yad, meaning the bone of the meat, so even though it didn't touch the meat itself, the bone will transmit the tumah to the meat. Mitame, it's going to be mitame. Oba ve'ina mitzdaref, but you can't use that bone to be mitzdaref to the shir kibeya. Shoima or shir kizayis by nevela. Shoima, but if it's a shoima, a bone like a chicken bone where there's marrow in it. Let's say, even though it's not a yad, it's
not connected to anything. That's what it means.
No, he means let's say it's not serving as a handle.
Yes,
like the skin, which is mechuba from the outside. Remember we spoke about the and the buses on this side, So the skin is not a handle, it's not a yad. Even though it's not a yad, but it's a shoyma. The skin is a shoyma to the meat. Tomei umetame. It's tummy itself. And it's metame, transmits tuma, umitztarif, and it could be mitztarif to the shear of by eichlin to the shear of abeya. A third case, lo yad v'lo shema, nishken yad, nishken shema, nitzagot, nitzalayin, it's garnished.
What is it?
Garnished, nishken yad, like the hair of a behema. The hair of behema, you have the hair of behema. And on the bottom of the hair, that piece, there's a little piece of meat. Or a little thin, tiny bone. You can't hold on to it. It's tight. It's so tiny, which is mechuba labasa. It's very soft. It's mechuba labasa. You can't use it as a handle. Loi tame or loi metame. It's not tame. In itself is not tame, and it cannot transmit tuma.
If it touches the hair of it.
If the sheretz touches the hair, and at the end of that little piece of hair, there's a little piece of meat, it's not going to become tummy. Or a little soft bone you can't use it for nothing. It's like petchke flesh. It's garnished. So you can't.
So what if the tummy touches your? You have a lot of hair and it touches your hair. Does that make you tummy as a person?
That's a person hair. Okay, I don't know. So you want the other is. I sagt das nicht. He doesn't talk about mitzvah. He says loy tami v'loy mitame. But if it's loy tami v'loy mitame, kann es nicht mitzvah sein. It's gar nicht. As mamish gonna shoyme is can mitzvah sein. A yad afilu kann nicht mitzvah sein. A yad we said is not mitzvah because it's just a conduit. It can do nothing. And this is not even a yad. It's v'chal nicht. I'm just saying balabatish gered. Yadois heichik sive. Yadois. Where was the Torah Maber Yadais? Says the Gemara L'chsiv, meaning that Yadais is a conduit to transmit Tumah. If a sheretz touches just the yad, so it transmits Tumah to the machol through the yad or through the bone. It says V'chiyut Mayim Al Zera'am enough min V'las Malav. If the water would be placed on the seed that was cut off, and a nevela sheretz fell on it, and a tamei hu lachem. So what's this lachem? The word lachem is extra. What is it coming to teach us? That lechol shebechtzarcheichem, anything that is being utilized for the need of that meichel. L'rabbeis sayadis, even it's coming to include that the yad is also being utilized for that meichel, so that they too could be mekabel tumah and transmit tumah. Uksiv. And it's also written by Tumas Nevelis. That was by Tumas Eichlin, because you're talking about seeds. chiyutan mayim al zera. Here, now, what about uksiv also bin agay tums nevelis v'chiyamas bin abehema shehilachem. If a behema will die, which is to you le'achla, and a game of lasa yitma da'arav, so there it says lachem. What is lachem telling you? That lechol shebetzachechem, anything that is needed, utilized for the nevela, larabis sayadis, to include even yadis, that of a nevela, the bone of a nevela, that at one bone there's no meat, but at the end of the other side of the bone there's meat, that bone will transmit the tumas nevela there. So, yod lahachnis. So the pasuk came to teach us yod lahachnis, side that it receives tuma. That we learn out by Zrayim, because it's talking about chiyutim mayim and asheretz fell on it, so it received tuma. And ubein lehoitzi, and it transmits tuma. By nevela, you cannot be talking about machnis. Nevela is alein tame. So when you brought the lachem from nevela, that's to teach you that it transmits, it gives off tuma. But by zera, you're talking about hachnasa, that it takes in tuma. It takes in tuma because the case is taking in tuma. L'chiyut mayim al zera, and a sheretz fell on it. Okay. So the shoyma. Now we're going back to shoyma. Remember the shoyma and yad. So okay, shoyma lahachnes lohitzi loitzarkra. A shoyma is something that is a protector over, like the bone, a chicken bone over the marrow. It takes in tuma and it transmits tuma, and you don't need a pasuk. How do you learn it out? Kavachayma. Madoch miyad, from miyad. Asi, we learn it out from miyad. My yod, which is removed from the basa. It's removed from being a protector. It's just a yad. She'ena megina. It's not a protector. Nevertheless, machneses umaytzia. It can take in tuma and it can transmit tuma. Shoima, which is a mogging, which is a protector, like koshkein, for sure it should take in and give off tuma. So what do I need a pasuk by Shema? We brought a pasuk before by Shema v'chiyitin zera. Remember by Shema that it gives off tuma. What do I need the yitma there? So since I don't need a pasuk for Shema for machnis and meitzi, so that pasuk comes to add something more, that it could be mitzdarif to the shear of a beya. In fact, you want to say it's not a raya from lachem that yad lahachnis v'lei lahitzi. Say that the pasuk is telling you even in yad that the yad could take in a tumah, but it cannot transmit tumah to the outside. V'shoyma lahachnis ulahitzi, but a shoyma could do both, could take in and transmit. Because there's a bigger chiddush lahachnis. I'm just telling you, that's a chiddush.
Why do you want to say yad can't be moitzi?
Because it's further removed. So I'll say yad.
Why would I say that?
Huh?
Why do you want to say it? You want to make a show a difference between yad
and shoyma? Sure, yad. Right now we're thinking. Right now we're thinking lahachnis is more of a kula. It can take in to transmit tuma is more of a chumrah. But mashen kin shoyma lahachnis laheitzi. Shoyma is more of a protector, it's closer to the basa, so it could be beside take it and transmit. Aval yad laheitzi, to transmit tuma is good. The shoyma litzarif, a yad could transmit tuma, but the shoyma litzarif, and the shoyma could even be mashlim to shir of abeya. No, I'm sorry, the shoyma litzarif light, and we can learn out litzarif. I'm going to tell you, what is the pasuk teaching us? That the yad could be, right? I would have said the yad is machnis, but it's not a meitzi. So maybe the pasuk is coming. No, he's saying, but the pasuk. No, yetzlan lahoitzi is the chumrah. Shpatalet lan faked. But he's saying maybe the extra pasuk that we had by Shema is to teach us not that it's mitzaref, is to teach us that by yad, even if it's not a Shema, it could transmit tuma to the outside, which is a chumrah. And not to tell us that by shoyma you're going to be mitzaref. So, and for the Gemara, no, yod lahachnis v'loy lahitzi loy matzah zamrit. Yod that takes in and it doesn't transmit, that you can't say. If you're saying it takes in tumah, for sure it can transmit tumah. Hashta yudami ayla madach it takes in tumah. Afukim ebaya. If to transmit tumah for sure.
We said it's fakir, though. Didn't we just say fakir?
Yeah, we thought.
Transmit is more difficult.
No, so he's telling you no, fakir. If the chiddush is taking in the tumah, it never was Torah. With tamal, you want na chiddush, you want tameh, and now you might see is tameh. But tameh to transmit is not a new chiddush.
It transmits. It's
Transmit,
contagious.
Says Gemara, I'll ask you faket. Says Gemara, Ema yod lehoitzi. We only know about that yod could transmit tumah, right? Of a v'loy lahachnis. We don't know that it could take in tumah, because taking in tumah is a chiddush.
If it never took in.
What do you mean? It's a conduit. It's a shell. It's touched it, and it's a conduit to give off tumah. But not that it's the bone itself is machnis, is not tummy. It's a conduit to make it tummy.
The tummy goes right through it.
Through it,
doesn't
yes.
It doesn't
stay. That's what we're thinking. To transform something that's Torah into tummy is a big chiddush. I think he says that. I saw before he brought down the transformation to take something that's Torah and to say, no, you're now a new mitzvah, tummy. That's a chiddush. Says the Gemara, Shema say lohitz lahachnes. Shema, I know from the psukim, the two psukim, that it could transmit and it could take in. Aval yad, but by the din yad lahachnis, lahachnis and Shema letzarif loy. By yad, I'll say that's why I needed the pasuk. I'll call zera zerua to tell you that it can even be mach, it can even take in tumah, which is a bigger chiddush. And don't say that the extra pasuk has come to tell you that by Shema you could be metzarif the maginim, those things that are protecting. So, and for the Gemara yad yisei ksiv, there's an extra yad, which is said by Tumas Kli Cheres. It says v'chol asher yipom miniv losam olav yitma. That's by Kli Cheres. What kind of Kli Cheres? Kli Cheres, tanur, v'kiraim. These are ovens made out of cheres. Yutats. If a sheretz went in, there's no way of taking out the tumah, and you have to break the oven. Okay? Zak Yimara lachem. There it says utmeyem yiyeh lachem. What's lachem? Lachem is extra. Lechol shebetzorchei chem. Anything that's used as a helper to the kalim. L'rabes sayodis, to include even the handles of the kli cheres, that they too transmit tumah. Zag the Gemara, lichte rachmana, let it to the right. So you have another yad, right? So since you have another yad, it's the extra. I'm sorry, lachem. So the lachem is so the extra lachem is another yitur. So since you have an extra lachem, so we learn out by Shema that first of all you're going to learn out yodis that it's machnis and moitzi. We learn out from where yodis. We learn out from the lachem, from the extra lachem. So now you know by yodis it's machnis and moitzi. By Shema you don't need a pasuk. Because Mardach by Yad it's Machnas and Ma'itzi. So by Yad for sure. So you have extra psukim. So obviously the extra pasuk has come to tell you that by Shema it's going to be Mitzaref. Okay. In fact, you want to let the Torah write. Huh? Okay. In fact, you want to Heimenayu Miyata. Which of the three psukim Benegei to Yades? We had three psukim. Lachem. Lachem by Kli Cheres. You had Lachem by how do you call it, by Zera, V'chiyut Mayim al Zera, and you had Lachem by Nevela. So which of the Lachems are extra? Says the Gemara, we need them all. So which one is extra that could?
Did we that before?
What?
The Lachem.
Yes, so he's asking, but now you're saying Lachem is extra because you can learn out what a Kavachim. So let's see, which one? Let the Torah only write the Yad is by Zoyim, the Yad that's written by Zoyim. And let us learn out Tanur, the Lachem, there's extra by Tana and by Nevela, and learn it out from Zoyim with a Binyanav. Just like by Zoyim, it's Machnis and Meitzi, right? So too by Tana and Nevela. Says Gemara, Mal Zoyim. Zoyim is more Chamor. Shekein Tumas Meruba. Because the Tumah is much more than Tana and Nevela. Tumah Zoyim is it's because Zoyim is Mekabel Tumah even from a Rishain, a Sheni. But a Tanur, there's no way of being Mekabel Tumah. It can only be Mekabel Tumah from a Av HaTumah. And Tumah Zoyim is greater than Nevela, like we said in the Mishnah. There's much more ways of conveying Tumah by Tumah Seichlin, because you could add, you could be Mitzalef, versus Nevela you can't. Says you want to lichter Rachmana b'Tana. Let the Torah write Dafka by Tana with the Leisianach with no, and let's learn out Zroyim and Avela from Tana. Says you want to no. Mal Tanur, Tana has a bigger chumrah. Shekain, we're talking about a kli cheres by Tana is metama afilu ba'aviroi. Aviroi, even in the ear, when there's a share, it's in the kli, even though it's not touching the kli, it becomes Megaba. It doesn't become tamei. Exactly. From the back, from the outside of the kli, doesn't. So it's more chama. Versus Zroyim and Avela, they're not metama only through negia, through mamish touching. It says you want to lichter Rachmana with Nevela. Let the Torah dafka right by Nevela. Let's learn Zoyim Matana from Nevela. It says you can't. Mal Nevela, the Tumah is much more common by Nevela. Shemekei Matama Adam and Kalim. Nevela is Matama Adam and Kalim. Umatama Afilu B'Masa. That if a person is carrying a kezayis min Nevela, he's just carrying it. He's not touching it. He's already Tama, even though he didn't touch it. V'Tumah Yotzim Gufa by Nevela. The Tumas Nevela is a Nevela Mitzad Atzma, is a Tumah Mitzad Atzma. And not because it received Tumah from something else, versus Tana and Zoyim is not that way. So if you want to you're right, one from one we cannot learn out. Let's learn out 1 out of 2. How? Hey, which out of the 3 should we learn out from 2? Says, let the Torah not write Lechem by Zoyim. B'negei Yodes by Zoyim. And we'll learn out with Atzad HaShabah from Tana and Avela. Says Gemara, Malahanach, by Tana and Avela, they have a Chumil Meshutefes, which is Shekem Etam and Shalei Behesha. Tana and Avela doesn't need to be Mukhshil Kabal Tumah. Tana, Ava Tumah touches the Tana, is Atame, and Avela is Atame Mitzad Atzma. It doesn't need Wasser, but after the legen Wasser from the Welt to werden Tame. Mashenkin, when it comes to Chitim,
it has to be water.
Has to be with water. So she came in time to the So Toima V'Zoyim, Shem Etan, Al Bahasha. I'm not going to be sure that's your upslug. Peter Shalei Huchshiru is no different than a Tanur. It's Ketana Shalei Nigman Malachte Dami. Peter, if you don't wash it, it's a Hestishkin Peter. What is the Gemar Malacha from the Peter? Then it becomes like when you wash it. It's like a Tana, you didn't finish the malach. It's like it's like
so if you have dirty it doesn't become muksha?
It's a Heisnish muksha. No. It's not Gemar Malacha. It's a fault in the Gemar Malacha.
I know.
Okay. Good. So Gemara Allah Parach Hachi. Only ask like this. Ma lahanoch Tana Nevela. They have a chumim shutef shekain mitame. Tana Nevela or mitame shaloi b'negir without touching it. Which ones? Tana Nevela. Tanor. If in the asheretz comes inside the ear of the Tana is already tame. And Tumas Nevela is tame b'tzad atzma without negia. Doesn't need something else touching it. Toima b'zoyim shein tame el b'negia, but by zoyim it has to come on to something touching it in order it should become tame. Zok Yimara, okay. Loi lichter rachmana the din of yodes b'tanor. Don't write it by tanor. V'teisi mahanach and learn it out from zoyim and nevela. Zok Yimara malahanach. By Mizoyim and nevela, they have something in common. Shekain eichel, it's eichel. So Rashi gleich by one. So what? It's eichel. Eichel is not a chumrah. So if you remember, we learned When it comes to Tzad HaShava, you have to show a little difference. A pircha de kol du. You remember from yesterday that this is Giduli Kakam, das nicht Giduli Kakam.
Why is Tana Oichel?
What? Not Tanur.
What did he say?
Zoyim and Avela. He says, let's learn out Tanur from Zoyim and Avela. Zoyim and Avela are both Davar Eichel. Okay? Mashen King Tan is a Kli.
But it's not already.
But it's a pircha kodu. It's not even a chumrah, but it's not a pircha kodu. What?
Well, meat is shaykh to eat.
Yeah, it's still meat. You can just sell it to a guy. Okay, so or you give it to a matana for the gay teisha. So you want to only Loilich Rachmana says you want to don't write the din of Yod's ben Avela. But Teisei, and we should learn it out with that Tzad Hashem Mahanich from Zoyim Betano. Says you want to hear Taka Ich Inach Anami Yod Nevela Lamali. Taka, why do I need the Yod by Nevela? So it says Yemana because I don't need it. So because Nevela I can learn out that Yod is a surah from Zoyim Betanor. Says Yemana Yad Nevela. So if the Lechem is not needed by Nevela, because you can learn it out from Zoyim Betanor, Tneyu Inyan Yad Alma. So don't apply it to Yad Nevela, apply it to Yad Alma, which means Oichlin. Tumas Oichlin. That and by the
what are you going to learn? The what?
That the Yad is by Eichel is Mekabel Tuma, right? And it's a conduit. It receives and it transmits. Okay. Zakt Yimara Yad. So what do we? So the Gemara concludes Yad by Eichel Tumas Eichlin lahachnis to take in Tuma. And Yod of Eichel is also Lahitzi, to transmit Tuma. So from this that we know that the pasuk teaches us that the Yad by Tumas Eichlin is Makabel and it's Machnis. So here we by Shoimin by Tumas Eichlin. What do I need the psukim? I can learn it out with a Kavah Chayma that it takes in and it gives and it transmits. I don't need a pasuk. I can learn it out with a Kavah Chayma. From Yad Oichlin. So what do I need by Shema Oichlin? You remember the first pasuk that we had by Zayim? If Abe doesn't by Yad by Nevelas means though. Yad Ba'alma means Tumas Oichlin. Ein Inyan for Tumas Oichlin Ayudei Yades. Right. So it's miyuta. Huh? Achnosa, yeah. I don't know what you're saying. Which one? We go for Ksiva. I don't need lahitzi, only lahachnas. How do you know pnei inyan l'yad nevela? Bahada itze leila meim. Not which one? Which Rashi are you referring? Pnei inyan l'eichlin. V'meina inyan lahitza. Dabidu yad ksiva. Huh? Yeah, I'm reading it. Pnei inyan l'eichlin. V'meina inyan lahitza. Favas nicht dabidu yad ksiva. Because it says already Yad by Eichlin. Tnei lachnas, you give lachnas out. Yad lachnas lahitzi. V'shem letzaref. Yeah, I'm telling you how. Because it's hakal v'chema. Once you know, you don't need shema anymore. Once you have for Yad, for the Yadis, lachnas lahitzi. First of all, even for lahachnis, lahitzi can be aris lamet hakal v'chema from the achnasa. And zweitens, once you know by Yadis you have Lahitz Lahachnis, you could by Shema is a Kavachema that you don't need Lahitz Lahachnis. So you have psukim, the pasuk extra. So the psuk by Shema is come to tell you that it's even Letzaref. That Shema can Letzaref zayin. Okay. Zok the Yemada V'akati Yad Nevela Itzich, but you need the Yad of Nevela. That's the extra Yad that you shifted it over for the Yad for the Alma. But he says, no, you can't shift it for Yad Alma, you still need for Nevela. Because if the Torah wouldn't have written Yad by Nevela, where are you going to learn out Nevela from? Where did you want to learn out Nevela from? from Zoyim Betanor. That Yadis is Matama. But he can only learn as much as the Zoyim and Tanor could be Matama. They cannot be Matama Adam Mekalim. How do you know the Yad of Nevela has the power to go even be Matama Adam Mekalim? And that you cannot learn out from Tanor Zoyim. So we need the Pasik. So Gemara here, Malahana, Chloimatana Adam. But when you're talking about Zoyim and Kalim, I'm sorry, Zoyim and Tanur, it cannot be Matama Adam and Kalim. Af Nevela, like Matama Adam and Kalim. So I'll say Nevela, if you're learning out Nevela from there, I'll say it's not Matama Adam and Kalim. So I needed a Pasik to tell her that it's going to be Matama Adam and Kalim. Says, Gemara, Eliyad Nevela, Mitzach Tzarech, we taka need it. And the Pasik of Yitma, that he's Mabah, Shem in the Nevela. Who the lights are? For Shem in the Nevela, that's where you don't need it. Why do the Torah have to write by Shem in the Vela? So it says, well, it's still from but by Yad you needed it because I would have never known that. By Shem is a different case.
Why don't you need it?
By Shem in the Vela because you learn it out with a Kavachim for Yad.
That's what I'm just saying.
Yes, very good. Says Gemara, so what do I need it for? And it says Gemara, it's the Rufi. If it's come to tell you that you could combine it to make it the share of Kazayas, a matalate mitzvah. You said already you can be mitzvah. Now lahoitzi, if you want to say that it transmits tumas nevelas kavachem yadasi, we can learn it out from a kavachem from yad. If yad can do it, for sure Shema can do it. Aleimein inyan le'shem nevela. If you don't use a Hashem nevela, nayu inyan le'yad nevela. You give it for yad nevela. V'meina inyan le'yad nevela because you already learned it out from Lachem. Nayu inyan le'yad alma. So you give it for yad alma, which is tumas eichlin. Yad lahaitzi v'yad lahachnis. So you learn out. You have this pasuk is lahachnis, and the previous pasuk lahaitzi. This pasuk lahaitzi. So now you're stuck with the by Shema Akol Zera Zeirua is extra. So what is he coming to teach us? That by Shema of Eichlin Letzarif that you can combine to the shear of Beya. In fact, the Baruch Ha'ima in English. Okay, I guess tomorrow we're gonna have to do a lot.